Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the film Searching, which this is about a man who's trying to find his daughter who's gone missing, and the whole entire film is shot through webcams and news cameras, and a lot of films are trying to do this lately, and honestly this is probably the one that has done it the most effectively and have created a really impressive film. And Anish Chaganty, who directed this film and wrote this film, has really created something special. This film really stood out to me as a film that, on a technical standpoint, is an experimental film trying to do something, but also telling a very impactful story that is also really important and relevant, as there are plenty of young people who go missing, and it really deals with that relationship of parents and children and loss, as this film opens with the wife of this family dying of cancer. And this is like up level impressive kind of setup with the opening sequence of building up this relationship of this family, building up to this tragedy, and then setting the stage for the rest of the film. It's really well paced, and the storytelling is really great, as it feels like you're slowly just pulling back layers upon layers of this mystery of a story until you finally get your payoff that's really impactful and really memorable and really surprising. And there's an impressive amount of detail that goes into this film, where they drop the smallest things throughout but always loop back to it and show why that was so important to begin with. And it really feels like nothing is wasted in this film, and that is something really impressive that Chaganty's able to do with his writing and his execution as a director. And it is a really good story. It has a lot of twists and turns. It really keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it builds the tension so well that you're engaged from start to finish, trying to figure out what is going on, honestly, with like the story of where this girl is, but also what happened to this relationship between her and her father. And it really does hit emotionally. There are some very powerful moments in this film through a couple of different characters where you really get true emotion and really impactful moments where these characters really show how they're feeling, coming to realizations about their relationships between like parents and children, and that alienation that a lot of people feel in, when they're teenagers, and the distance they might have with other kids and also their parents. And this film really deals with that a lot, and also shows how far somebody will go as a parent for their child in so many different ways, and that is a really impactful thing about this film. Juan Sebastian Baron, who is the cinematographer for this, they did a really impressive job of balancing using the webcam, using an iPhone with FaceTime, and then using news cameras and stuff like that throughout the film to be able to tell the story. And I think one of the most impressive things is, so I saw Unfriended Dark Web, and there's particular moments where it's like the gimmick kind of got in the way of logic, where it's like, why would there be a camera there at this point? It makes no sense. This film, it all works. There's cameras there for reasons, and it's understandable why we're able to peer in and see what's going on in this film at every moment. There's a lot of thought and detail that went into that. And Torin Borodale, who's scoring this film, it was very emotional and very impactful. And I was a little surprised that it packed as much emotion as it did, and it's still something to think about, and stood out to me a week later after I saw this film. Really, the performances in this, John Cho really stands up, somebody who became famous for being MILF guy number 2 in American Pie, and then being in Harold and Kumar. This film, he really stands up and gives a really mature, really powerful performance as his father, who's dealing with a lot. And Deborah Messing, who has a surprising amount to do in this film when all said and done. She actually brings quite a bit of emotion herself, and they both really sell the emotions of what's going on in this film. Because if it wasn't for John Cho, this film really wouldn't work, because you spend almost this whole entire film with him. And it was like I mentioned before, the opening sequence of this film was so well put together to really set up this family, And they have the main daughter character. You get to find out a lot about her through these different kinds of things, and she turns out to be a very interesting character. My only flaw that really stuck out with me in this film was, besides their relationships and stuff, the characters don't, like John Cho's character, you don't really get to know him a whole lot outside of like a mourning husband and a worried father. And like the characters aren't super interesting and don't have a whole lot of like, besides the daughter who you do get to find out about her personality and stuff like that, there's not a whole lot there for some of the other characters. But overall, this film, I really, really love this film. I think this is something that you should go check out if you get a chance to. It should be releasing wider and wider over time. Please go check out Searching. It's worth the look. And thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland reviewer.